Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.
Why don't more infant formula companies use organic, grass-fed whole milk instead of skim? Why don't more infant formula companies use the latest breast milk science? Why don't more infant formula companies run their own clinical trials? Why don't more infant formula companies use more of the proteins found in breast milk? Why don't more infant formula companies have their own factories instead of outsourcing their manufacturing? We wondered the same thing. So we made ByHeart, a better formula for formula. Learn more at byheart.com.
And now, Hangar 56 Media presents Spike's Car Radio, a downloadable cars and coffee, hosted by writer, comedian, and automotive enthusiast Spike Feresten. Now, here's Spike.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Spike's Car Radio. We're out here live on Sunday, posted Wednesday at Bill's Porch, the Malibu Kitchen, the Malibu Country Mart. The Malibu Country Mart Cars and Coffee. It's a little after 10. The lots haven't opened up yet, but Jay Leno is here. Jonny Lieberman is here. Zuckerman is here. They've all brought beautiful cars. There's a bunch of stragglers and some pretty things. A nice Morgan over there and a VW. And we're all just waiting for the security to open the gates so the car people can come in. I don't know about you guys, but I saw a lot of people going the other way this morning. Did you guys?
I saw people everywhere going in all sorts of directions.
Yeah, lots of beautiful cars. You're never going to stop people from driving here on the Pacific Coast Highway.
It's called a Sunday drive for a reason, Ferguson. I've said it before.
Yeah. But you brought something pretty interesting, Jonny Lieberman.
Excuse me. Yeah.
And so here, hey, wait. No, here are the rules. All right, I just want to tell you the rules of today's podcast.
Yeah.
The interruptions, we can't pay attention to the interruptions. I don't want to talk to people that are going to try to interrupt us, all right? We're going to try to record here. I don't want to have to do a bunch of edits, all right?
So
tell me about the Pagani. Let's go.
The Pagani Huarya BC Roadster, also known as the Roadster BC. It's very confusing, but so what's significant about the Roadster version of the BC is it has the new
Whose
AMG.
car is this? Let's start with the basic.
It's Pagani's.
It's Pagani's.
Christopher Pagani said, hey, I look at your Instagram. You're always up in Angeles Crest. You're always in Malibu. I want my car to be at both places. I said, done.
He's the Pagani or the kid?
He's the son of Horatio, but he lives in Florida.
Wow. And he offered
where's
you.
Horatio living? Italy?
He lives
or
in
Argentina?
Italy. Yeah, he lives in Italy.
But he's Argentinian.
He is Argentinian, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, his son, who's Italian, called me and said, hey, would you take this to both places? And I said, sure. So that's the thing. So it's Pagani's car. Hello, Jay.
Yeah, I love the meatball.
Just when I said no interruptions, Jay Leno walks up.
Yeah, I mean,
what are you going to do?
Jay can interrupt, right?
He can. How are you, Jay?
I'm good, you guys. Just look at the Pagani. It's incredible. Yeah, it's a beautiful car.
And what did you drive? You drove your Plaid here today?
I drove the Plaid here today. You know, I'm addicted to that thing.
Yeah.
You know, because it just does everything. It's fast. I mean, there's nothing faster. That's what it just makes me laugh. I go, look at that. Oh, no, this is faster than that. Then the Pagani pulls in, and I go, no, it's faster than that. I mean, it is.
You could mop the Pagani in that thing?
Huh?
You could mop the Pagani in that thing.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
Easy.
In a straight line, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, you know, do you see the Plaid?
He needs a mic on him if he's going to talk.
Did you see the Plaid that just did the? It beat a Laguna Seca. It beat the Porsche 911 GT2, the twin
GT2
turbo.
RS, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That
Well, electric motors going faster.
that was wait. You want here? Sit. All right.
No, yeah, sit down.
I'll just say real quick. That was a stripped out race car one that my friend Randy Post was driving. It's an unplugged performance car, and that's how. But
Do you think Pagani's going to be happy hearing that their Tesla Model Plaid is faster?
well, I think
Different market.
Is
I mean, the thing.
Is it really, though? Because In the last few months, you and I have become, and I think you were there before me, lunatic Tesla fans. Like, I'm a huge...
Well, here's my thing. I'm a fan of anybody who builds their own engine.
Right.
Or motor, whatever you want to call it. And that's what Tesla did. They built this, it's got this carbon rotor. You know, all your windings are in a case.
Yeah.
Okay. But the trouble with most electric motors, if it spins too fast, eventually centrifugal force will break it. It'll come apart. So what he did, they developed a new kind of machine to wind it extra tight, and then they made this carbon rotor to go around the casing, to encase it. And so consequently, it can rev far beyond what a normal electric motor could. And I go, that's what I like. You didn't just buy an engine from General Electric or somebody who makes electric motors. They developed their own. I mean, that's to me the impressive part, you know. Like TVR, I liked them because they built a slant 6, a modern slant 6. I thought, good for you. They bucked the trend to go to V8. They developed their own. And I think, they built their own engine. And that's what really made it cool.
So you really hate the Pagani because that's an AMG motor.
No, I don't.
That's
I don't hate
do.
it. No, I think it's beautiful. It's also art and jewelry and fast and all those and dependable, and that is a great motor. I'm just saying, to me, most of the people, whether it's Lamborghini or Bugatti, it's kind of how you define a mark by the engine, isn't it? I mean, you say they built their own motor. It's a 5-valve or it's a twin cam or whatever it might be. So, I mean, to me, that's what makes it. I would rather have it. Like, I have a car called a Will St. Clair. It was built in 1920 by Harold Wills, who worked for Henry Ford. He was Henry Ford's partner.
Yeah.
And it looks like a Model A. But under the hood, it's an overhead cam, bevel drive. When I open the hood, people go, whoa, wow. And they didn't sell because the outside wasn't as exotic as the inside. The outside just looked like a car. It just looked like any period Hudson Humpmobile, but the engine is what made it special. But there weren't enough engine people around. There were more visually oriented people around, you know. So to me, that's why it wasn't as popular. So that's why I like when I see somebody make something that's visually stunning and they build their own motor. Oh, that's the whole package.
They're not assembling, they're building.
Yeah. I mean, you go to Elon's factory. He's the only guy that can make this electric motor. And because he's the only guy that developed a machine that makes it. Mm-hmm. And you go, wow, okay, that's pretty impressive. You're not just selling cars here. Because let's face it, if he bought engines from somebody else who makes it, he could sell them all day long. It wouldn't make any difference. But to the enthusiast, it's like, oh, okay. I mean, you're at the point now where gas engines will be like flathead engines. There'll be a special category for them to race in because they're not going to beat a Tesla or whatever electric.
But it's funny. Like, I've been to the Pagani's atelier in Italy, and you ask him, like, why don't you build your own engine? And he goes, well, a Pagani has 5,000 parts. The engine's one of those parts. So he's almost dismissive of it.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just talking about me, what I think. He does beautiful work. He's been to my shop, and he's an incredible artist. But he's an artist more than an engineer. I don't mean that to sound insulting, but there are people who just build an engine and just put whatever. The Duesenberg brothers are like that. They built an engine, just put a body on it. So when they first put their cars out in the early 20s, they weren't very successful because they were kind of boxy looking. But they had this overhead cam, Hemi head, all kinds of trick stuff. Yeah, but it wasn't enough. As Henry Ford said, nobody wants to go 70 miles an hour. And they didn't back then because there were no roads to do it on. So why develop that? But for those of us that love that kind of thing.
Right.
Everybody's talking about this electric car era that's coming. I guess Biden had some initiative this week that was, what was it? I didn't quite read it
he just said he wants, it's not, a goal for America would be that half of the cars sold by 2030 will be electric.
Right, so in 9 years, half.
Yeah. And that's actually kind of on pace to where it's going to be anyways without him saying that.
There's a little bit of a barrier to jump into these things, but once you're there, the water's just great. I mean, Jay, do you see people really, in these red states just jumping into this technology? Do you think it's going to be hard for them?
No, I don't think we hire them because you have a situation where you never have to do maintenance. You never have to go to a dealer. There's no 600-mile oil change. And then the first 2,500-mile oil change. And then that bill for the coolant and fluids and it all just disappears. I mean, I bought my first Tesla in 2015, and I just sold it. And I put tires on it because I'm hard on tires. But brake pads look brand new because I'm using regen all the time. At high speeds, I take my foot off the throttle, and the regen slows it down. I'm not wearing the pads out. I mean, I didn't do anything to it. So to me,
you know what moment I love is the gas station is at your house. If you have the charger there, you come home and you can put the gas in the electric car right there. And there's no little sign that says $7 a gallon.
And there's more than enough electricity to power it. Everybody's, what are you going to do when everybody has electric cars? That will not be a problem.
I just drove around Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. And I can say this, it's truck country. There's not a lot of cars. Everyone has 2 or 3 trucks. So you're going to see like the Ford.
That Ford F-150 is the most unbelievable truck.
Yeah.
I mean, have you driven it?
I haven't driven it.
I like that it has a frunk. It's a pickup truck with a frunk.
But the Tesla truck, the Ford, the Rivian, which they're going to be super cool.
The GMC?
The Hummer. I mean, the Hummer's going to be $100,000, but they will do Chevy and Ram. Will do electric. But that is how you get to the red states.
You know what Ford did, which is very smart? Down in Houston, when they had that horrible freeze, remember everything froze and all the infrastructure fell apart. They gave away, just to use dozens of electric 150 trucks.
The Power Boost ones.
Because you can run your house for 10 days on the battery. For 10 days.
Wow.
It's
unbelievable. Off the fuel. It was a hybrid, so you run the engine. But
But I mean, you can power your house for 10 days.
But
Plus,
I was going to say, the way in is, they're all going to have 600 horsepower minimum.
Right.
And then it's a truck. So that's how you get to people that are like, because everyone thinks it's going to be like a Prius. But it's like, no, it's got more power than any truck you've ever owned.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's more practical. And by the way, it costs $0.25 to run.
Right.
And no maintenance.
Right. And of course, we come from the era when electric cars were glorified golf carts, and it was sort of a joke. But if you were born in 2000, to you, it's like electric has always been powerful.
Right. And once it drives great, like your Plaid, my Model Y, I will say, is a little bumpy, and it's a little hard to kind of get used to that.
Yeah, I got it.
But I don't worry about it so much.
Do you adjust your suspension? Have you done that?
No. How can I do that?
It says right on the thing, press suspension.
Oh, I can do that. Yeah, it doesn't change the ride.
But it'll go to hard, soft, comfort, sport.
There's no real difference there.
Yeah.
I thought you meant a modification where
there is on the Plaid.
Yeah. The Plaid, your Plaid definitely is a lot smoother than the Y.
The Y doesn't have air suspension. The Plaid has air suspension. That's the difference.
There you go.
Air suspension makes a difference.
It does. Big difference.
Yeah, I think this is it's going to happen literally overnight.
It's there. Ed Begley was the patron saint. He was the town crier when no one was listening.
He was the canary in the coal mine.
Well, and the other thing, is just remember, too, for the manufacturers, is cheaper to make.
Less parts.
You can sell it for the same price, and it's like it's a exponential factor.
Well, that's why
cheaper.
I get mad at. I'm sure this Rimac is an excellent vehicle, but at $2.1 million, it's almost the same speed as the Plaid. I mean, it's faster. It's faster.
That's a quick thing.
But I mean, it's still 0 to 60, 1.91 versus whatever. So, to me, making an economical or reasonably economical electric car is that's the one thing that Elon is doing. Lotus is coming out with an electric one. It's going to be $2 million. Oh, who's buying $2 million car?
Our traditional metrics of 0 to 60 become irrelevant after a while. We've lived our lives as 0 to 60 people. What will it do in 0 to 60?
Well, but that's how it's like horsepower. Horsepower is a horse can lift 33,000 pounds 2 feet off the ground. I mean, it's the most ridiculous form of measurement. I mean, who got it? Bob, get the horse out here, would you please? Put it next to the 911. Okay, let's. But I mean, we still use that. So, but you have to have something.
But the issue becomes, it's funny though, they're all bunching up around 2 seconds. It's just tires. Tire technology is kind of at, I don't want to say it's peak, but like, that's the limiting factor now is traction.
Yeah.
Well, at a certain point, your brain's going to be a limiting factor. If you could do 0 to 60 in 0.1 second, I think your brain would separate from the stem.
We've been talking about this. Yeah, what is going to be the fastest 0 to 60 speed before somebody gets hurt?
To read the real genius is, like with Japanese motorcycles, you could drive a ZX 1400 on quarter throttle your whole life, and it's still plenty fast. The number of people I've met that bought Tesla, I've never stepped on the gas all the way, because it's more than they need, and but yet it's as docile at slow speed as it is powerful at high speed, and that's the cool thing about it. In the old days, you got a big engine car, it just wants to run all the time like a horse. So I meet people all the time that have Teslas. Is it dual motor? They go, I don't know. You don't know? Yeah, they just bought one because that's what it was.
Do you guys like collectingcars.com?
Oh,
Are you in the market for a car? You got to go check out their live U.S. auction highlights at collectingcars.com. Chris Harris's operation is what I call it. Right now they have a 1987 Porsche Carrera Zuckerman. Guards red.
My color.
150,000 miles. G50 transmission. 150,000 miles. That's going
Remarkable.
Another 150, that car, right? Momo Prototipo steering wheel. They also have a 1993 Alpine A610, one of 800 imported to the U.S. from Japan. Last of the original A-line cars stretching back to the A106 composite body and chassis. GT2 version raced at Le Mans, but not this car, right?
Probably not that car, but maybe.
They have a lot of great cars. They have a global market. You're trying to sell a car, you can list for free. You will have an audience of people who want to buy them from around the world. You want to buy a car, they've got a lock on just the coolest performance cars, and from all ranges, the most expensive stuff to the cheapest stuff. If you're not going to get up to Monterey, check out Chris Harris's virtual Q&A at the Works Reunion in Monterey with the PCA. You can check it out. He's going to be there. View, our friend View, remember? Saved us in the Zagato.
That's right.
Boo Nagoyan. He's going to be part of it. They're going to chat live Friday the 13th, 2021. Check out Collecting Cars. Why sell your car anywhere else? No ordinary auction, no ordinary cars. CollectingCars.com.
I like the way you slipped into that.
You have to.
They used to do a show in the Midwest called the Bob Braun Show.
Yes.
And it was kind of like Mike Douglas of 3 states. And he'd be talking, you'd have a conversation, and he would go, I go, da-da-da. You know, that's kind of like Con Wieners, Jay. What? You know Con Wieners? The wiener the world awaited? The world's most delicious hot dog? And I
Yes.
go, are we doing a commercial? I didn't even realize.
It's integration.
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
to integrate. We have another one to get to, ExpressVPN. It's a little harder.
Okay.
Oh.
Because
My
they're about
favorite
kind of
one-
hiding your IP while
I
you're
think it
looking
was
at
for
porn.
Gallup and Ford. There's a guy named Tony Catane or something like that. They're taking your questions. Who has a question? I have a question, Tony. Is this a good time to buy a car? This is the best time, Bob, because it's always the best time. You know, there's I would advise not buying a car right now, but that would be like the guy's. Is this a good? Oh yes, it's.
And this was Tawny Catane, you said?
Not Tony,
different one.
something like that. Tony, Tony, somebody.
Hey,
I don't know.
What's going on with Jay Leno's garage? Half the people here at the show are on your show. Every time I meet someone, Jay invited me on the show. And then they all come to me and go, when am I going to see myself on Jay's show? And I go, do I look like Jay Leno? Do I look?
Well, we do tape a lot of it.
But when's the new season start?
Well, the new season, it's Jay Leno's Garden on YouTube, which is every week.
Okay, well, let's start there.
Okay.
Zuckerman and I did a bit with you with a Zagato. So we're getting asked a lot. Where can they
I just saw
see
that one. It looks good. That's a good show.
Is that the TV show, or is that...
That's the TV show. That will start, I think, about the middle of the end of September.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's really exciting.
That looked really
Because
good.
You're the only show that we gave the car to. We get asked all the time to show that
My
car.
car was rejected by Jay.
Which car?
Ford Fiesta ST. Your producer was like, no, he just drove the Focus RS. I was like, no, but this is different.
Oh, well, see, you got to ask me. So
He's the
The
decider.
entry point.
Yeah.
You got to get to the right
I
entry
can tell
point,
you right now,
Lieberman.
you will not
Emailed
be
me.
rejected, John.
I don't know. I like it.
Based on some of the people I've seen.
It's like a Cobra without Carol's signature. You know,
Right.
it's the only car in LA that hasn't been on the show, so it's good.
well, there are no Cobras without Carol Seeger. The rare ones are the unsigned cars.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Oh, yeah,
without,
yeah,
without.
that's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have remember Vivian, the 16-year-old Miata builder,
Right, yes.
and the young fella who built the Mustang with his dad. Are you doing an all kids version of Jay's Garage?
No, not all kids, but to me, whenever I see a young person,
It was
who
really
like,
cool, yeah.
like cars, you know, because we started that. I do that or Drain Concours back in Rhode
Mm-hmm.
Island, and we started this thing called 30 Under 30, where anybody 30 or under that fixed up a car, rebuilt a car for less than $30,000, they're invited to bring their car to the concours, you know. And these kids were so honored to have their cars on the same field next to Alphas and Bugatti. I mean, one kid was in tears. He brought his parents, and you know,
Oh, wow.
you know, his parents were like, "Oh, this is my son. You got invited. You invited my son to the thing, you know, because you see the parents don't know about cars.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, my son wants to be a mechanic. So suddenly, you know, her son's getting an award for rebuilding his car, and all these rich guys are looking at it. And I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it's really cool to see that enthusiasm.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I knew when I was a young kid, and you know, don't touch this car unless you're nude. Just stay back. You know, all those signs and the Beach Boys playing in the background, playing fun, and just everything you're not. You know, you ever go to these car shows? Jan and Dean, Dead Man's Curve. Shut up, Jesus.
Stay away from the car.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so to me, I
That's
always
funny.
let kids sit in my cars, the Countach or anything, because and then they remember. And I'm old enough now to I meet guys that are like 40. Hey, do you remember me when I was 8? You let me sit in your Countach. Oh no, I don't. But nice to see you. Did I ever tell you a story about the kid? This kid writes me a letter. Dimas Leno. He was in the 8th grade, and he said, "I told everybody you're my uncle." And on weekends we drive around in your Lamborghini, and my friends call me a liar. Could you maybe give me a ride to school one morning so I could show them I'm not a liar? And I call the kid and I go, "Well, you are a liar." But I said, "But I will do that." So I talked to his parents and I said, "Okay." So I drive out it's now around Hermosa. I pick the kid up. We take it and pull up in front of the school. The door, you know, the scissor doors come up. "Thanks, Uncle Jay." "All right, Billy, whatever." And to this day, that kid, it's like the funniest thing.
I like but you are a liar.
He was a liar.
And now he writes from prison.
What gonads on that kid? Like,
That's awesome.
But I like that kind of kid logic with that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but it's, you know, when you come and you let them sit in your car, they're so, and it's like they're so amazed because, you know, remember when you were that age? I mean, to me it was collecting. I still have memorable issues of Road and Track. The one with Carroll Shelby sitting there like this, and there's a Cobra and a GT40 and a Shelby Mustang in the same picture. I thought, it's unbelievable. And when Carroll Shelby came to my garage, I said, "Can we recreate that?" Because I had those 3 cars. And we put them together, and it was like, the greatest day of my life, you know.
yeah.
We call that the taproot moment. That
Yeah.
moment where it starts everything for you
Yeah,
in the car world.
Exactly. And anytime you can encourage kids to get involved, it's good because, you know, most kids go, I'm not rich. I can't afford an Alpha. But I got an old BMW. But, let's see it. Oh, wow. And you know, it's really fun. It's fun.
and it is important. I mean, that's why I love bringing, you know, it's not my car, but bringing stuff like this because kids go nuts for it. And you know, what you were saying, I remember I was like 8 or 9, and my dad's from Montreal. I was in like Old Town Montreal, orange Countach, you know, parked on like cobblestones. And I stood there for 30 minutes. I could not believe what I was looking at. It just didn't even make sense that it was real.
When I first came to town, I was hitchhiking around, and I saw a red Countach, and someone said it belonged to Rod Stewart. It was parked over on, what's that road right above Hollywood Boulevard? You know that
Franklin.
up there, Franklin. Right.
Franklin Ave.
And I looked in, and there was a half-eaten bag of potato chips, and I went, that's good. Drive around the Countach eating potato chips. That's like the greatest thing. Because when you were a kid, I was like 20,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, man, how neat would that be? You're so rich you can afford to just drive around eating potato chips and then leave the bag in the car with the chips in it. You know? And I just thought, when I had Rod Stewart on the show, I asked him about that. He goes, yeah, that was my car. I said, and you're eating potato chips in the car. You know what I mean? But when you're a
So
kid,
he confirmed it.
Oh, yeah, he did confirm it. But when you're a kid, that's what you're impressed honest with you. It's like, oh, eating potato chips in a Lamborghini. It's fantastic.
That would be pretty good to find that car right now and recreate that moment. Boy, you just painted a picture. I used to live on Franklin Ave. It's a lovely little street with a big Hollywood history. But you're not fastidious with your cars. You don't care about them like that. Do you eat potato chips in your cars, or are you a neat freak?
I do, actually.
You do?
I eat in all my cars.
You do. You don't care.
Well, you know. I'll tell you a funny story. I did some corporate event for McDonald's. So the guy says, "Mo, hey, here's about 50 Happy Meal coupons." Oh, okay, great. So he gives me. And when you're in show business, you're broke for so long. Free food is free.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm driving my SLR Mercedes, and I think, I got about a half a dozen of these McDonald's. Let me go into McDonald's. Right? So I get in the drive-through. I go up there and I go, "Let me have 2 Happy Meals." I get this thing. The lady goes, "Oh, hang on." I go, "What? Hang on." Then the manager comes to the window. "Miss Leno, we only allowed 1 Happy Meal coupon per visit."
You piker.
And I said, "Well, that's okay. I'll just take one." No, I'm going to see what I can do. I said, "Well, no, it's okay. Pull off to the side. Pull off to the side." Oh, well, so now I pull off to the side. So when he comes out, I open the door. When the gull-wing doors, because all these people come around, "Oh, what's that with the gull-wing doors?" And the guy says, "No, Mr. Leno, I can give you the free meal this time." And I hear people go, "That's Jay Leno from the Tonight Show. He's arguing over a free Happy Meal coupon." I'm not arguing over it. I can do it for you this one time, but we're not allowed to give you 2 meals. I said, "Well, it's fine." Now I'm like the cheapest guy in the world,
I've had that happen before. I was dropped. Do you ever go to Oral and Don's Porsche service in the Valley? They used to take care of our cars. I remember a Saturday morning having to get there early to fix something around 8 a.m., spilling out of bed, probably hungover. They said, "We're going to need the car for an hour." So I walked north in North Hollywood to this grungy McDonald's full of drug addicts and go in and just get a coffee, and I'm sitting there. And Kevin Meaney, the comedian, comes in out of nowhere. And he goes, "Spike?" I go, "Yeah."
Hello,
Kevin.
Spike.
He goes, Are you okay? He puts his hand, What are you doing? I get my Porsche. "Oh, you have a Porsche, do you?" And I look like a mess. I look like a vagabond. And he sat down with me, and he asked me if I needed help. "Do you need help? Can I do something for you?"
He was a funny guy, wasn't he?
He was one of the greatest. One of the greatest.
We're big pants people. Remember that?
We're big pants people. What was his other? "Oh, I'm okay." "I'm okay."
That's right. Yeah,
he
Very funny.
He did a great bit. But I could not disavow him of the fact that I was not a hobo as well.
Right, that's funny.
I was here with my Porsche getting it fixed. How's the game show going?
Really good, actually. It's a lot of fun. Yeah,
when are we going to see that?
September 13th.
Wow, it's a big fall for Jay Leno.
Yeah, it's all right. So
Look at that, man.
We're taping 6 a day, so it's a little...
But still, to be this vibrant in show business, to just be plowing through your life, just killing it and crushing it.
Fine with me.
Right?
Having a good time, not complaining. Yeah.
That's awesome. What's new down at the shop?
What's new? Putting a new transmission on my Pantera. Took that apart. That's an interesting car.
What year Pantera?
It is 71.
Is it a push-button Pantera?
Push button? What do you mean?
With the first 70-some-odd Panteras that came into the country had a push button for a door release, and it had a little scooped-out hole to put your hand. After that, they went to door handles that looked more like a Dodge product.
Yeah. I think mine's just regular door handles.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you like those cars? I know, Zuckerman, you sent me one.
Yes,
you
why
were
I'm
thinking
talking about
it.
push buttons, because I've always wanted a Pantera. What do you think?
Well, they're interesting. After driving McLarens and stuff, you'll be a little disappointed. I mean, I have to take my shoes off to drive it.
You're too tall.
And you have, well, it's just the pedals are close together, and it's a little tight. And mine, the transmission was so hard to shift, I just got disillusioned with the car. It sat for a while. Then I decided, well, let's pull it apart and put it together. So now we're putting it together, and it'll be better. And I know people go crazy for them and love them. So
is it the ZF transaxle that's
ZF?
That's hard to shift. Is that the nature of the car?
Yeah, I've got I need a new second gear, and put new synchros and all that in it, and that'll be fine. But no, it's a nice car. I mean, it's so funny because that's the first true mid-engine, but it never gets any credit for it. Like Ford had it back in '71. You know.
How does it drive, though? I mean, what would you compare it to driving-wise?
Boy, it drives like an American car. Put it that way. I mean, it. You know, I'm driving stuff that was built literally 50 years later. You know, McLarens and all this stuff. So you go, wow, this is really smooth and everything's integrated nicely. And so it's, I mean, it's what they used to call a man's car. There's no power steering. The clutch is very heavy. You're moving this shifter. You know, it's a bit like churning butter. You're going through the gears. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I would say. It's like a man's car. If you're trying to park it, you're going to get sweaty because you're like, turn it back, turn it right, turn it right, you know. But that being said, it's an attainable car. You know, it's the one sort of classic supercar. If you got your own plumbing business and you're reasonably successful, you could buy one of these, work on it yourself. You know, and that's what I like about it. It's a bit like a Corvette that way.
Because most of the parts are American parts and easy to find, or
the engine, yeah.
The engine, the ZF, those parts can be expensive, and body panels are not going to be cheap.
Right.
But, I mean, it's okay. I mean, you realize it's, like I always say, it was built halfway in the development of the automobile.
Right.
It was designed in the 60s. So you figure 1910 is kind of the starting point. You're just at the it's the halfway point in the development of the automobile. And from that point of view, it's impressive. Because compared to what was around in 71, remember how exotic it was? It was only sold at Mercury dealers.
Yeah.
They have the cat, the sign
only
of the cat.
Only at the Mercury dealers.
My buddy had
Wow,
I think it was 74, but it was a GTS. It was a Cleveland motor.
Right.
And it just sounded better than anything.
Yeah.
I don't know how it drove, but it's fair.
No,
drove
they're great. They're interesting. You just have to remember it's a 50-year-old car.
Right.
And it's not going to handle or perform like a I mean, cars have gotten so good.
Yeah.
You just go, oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what else is good.
What else is good?
What's that? Whoa.
Well, did you know that Netflix has different content available in different countries?
What?
That's true.
Get out.
There are lots of these streamers that are putting on different programs in different countries, and you can't watch it unless you have ExpressVPN, that is. ExpressVPN is like paying for a gym membership, but only being able to use the treadmill. If you don't have it,
wow,
I did that wrong.
Because I've been trying to watch CSI Zimbabwe, and I can't get it.
Well, ExpressVPN can help you. ExpressVPN lets you change your online.
Fantastic.
They let you change your online location. You can be watching from Zimbabwe, so you can control where you want to watch Netflix and what you watch on Netflix. They also have 100 different server locations, so you can gain access to thousands of new shows. This works with many other streaming services, too. BBC, iPlayer, YouTube, and more.
Yeah, remember when you used to just turn on the TV and look, there's something on. I remember that. Oh, there's something on the television, my mother would say.
What other shows would you watch, Jay, if you used ExpressVPN? Other shows would you watch?
Oh, there's so many that I would watch. Who's Got the Butter, that famous English sitcom? That's
the Swedish show? That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Great Swedish format.
Right.
ExpressVPN has blazing fast speeds. They're compatible with all your devices. They encrypt your data. And you know why you're doing that, folks, late at night. What you need to do is go to expressvpn.com/spike911. My name, my favorite car. Don't forget to use my link at expressvpn.com/spike911 and get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free.
Like I used to play video games when, like when I was 25. I'd go home. Let me kill some aliens for 10 minutes, but you can't. Now I have to. Like the racing games, I have to have a team, and I have to get these tires. I have to have so many points before I go. Can I just drive around the track? No, you can't. You can't just go for a drive around the track. You have to get your team and make sure. It's so complicated.
Yes,
I don't
You're
do
talking
it
about
anymore.
video games.
Video games.
That's why Grand Theft Auto became a huge hit.
Yeah.
They said, we're just going to create a city and let you wander through it and kill people, steal cars.
Right.
Zuckerman, have you ever played that?
I have not.
It's kind of your game.
Yeah,
You know why I
your
don't?
game.
Because I know I will become obsessed, and I know I don't have the hours to
But you
spare.
would enjoy that freedom of just you walk
you
down
can
the
punch a
street,
hooker.
you punch a hooker.
Right.
Look how happy he is.
I don't think Zuckerman would punch hookers.
well.
He would punch other men of his age that he didn't like the way they looked.
Yes, male hookers in the senior fighting league.
Jay, what is this pic? What I was so confused. I was brushing my teeth when you sent me this little video
that's
today.
Me climbing out the wing on the front of an airplane.
Is that a real airplane?
Yeah, it's a real airplane. Hey, I'll show it to you.
Zuckerman is saying this is a fake
that's not a
CGI
fake.
grease scheme, and I didn't think so either.
No,
okay,
it's not. Here, I'll show it to you.
what? But it looks like you're coming out the
This
front.
is not the Great Waldo Pepper. What is this?
Where you're? It looks like you're coming where the propeller would be in a propeller airplane.
No, because it's what. Okay, here's the plane right there. Okay, see it?
Yeah. Look at that, Zucker. Look at this. It's a twin
Oh,
prop.
okay.
You see the nose? The nose opens from the inside.
Yes,
So
yes.
I climbed out on here. I'll show
In
you.
the air.
Yeah, in the air. Yeah, I'll show you. Here, I'll show you.
But for why?
Yeah. For why is the
Who
good
are you, the
question.
Great Waldo Pepper? What's happening?
Here it is. Here it is.
Wing Walker Leno?
There it is. Yeah, see?
Look at this.
That's
We're looking
crazy.
at a video right now of from inside the cockpit with Jay Leno like an ornament on the front of the plane, hanging and waving into the windscreen. Hills of what?
That's the problem.
Hills of what? Hills of what? What hills are these?
That's the Catalina.
What are you doing though? What are you doing?
Well, I wanted to surprise the guys. The guys who I was with some friends of mine, and they didn't know the front of the plane opened, so I went up to the front and then climbed up on the windshield.
That's a good reason.
Hey, here it is.
Were you tethered at all to the
No,
plane?
no.
Was
You
there
were not.
danger involved?
There's it from another angle.
I mean, so people,
Let me
there are
see.
giant rocks right off to the right of the plane.
Yeah, but it's a
and they're
plane
over
in
water.
flight, and Jay Leno is hanging off the front of it.
And it looks about like if you thought the Pantera was old, that looks about 20 years older.
Zuckerman.
No, there's no.
Do you have any advice for him?
It's great if you want to die.
No, but I'm over water, so.
Okay, that helps when you're going 100 and you skip like a rock.
But it's no. It's not a fake. It's real.
What are you doing? And it's not even for a TV show. This was just for kicks. And
Just being stupid. Yeah, kicks. Banana, 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 yeah, kicks. That's it. Sure.
I don't understand.
Hey,
Jay.
Daddy-O, we did it for kicks.
Oh man.
But you know, that plane runs at about. It'll do 200, but it cruises about 125.
Will you send me a picture of the plane itself? I want to show my son
yeah.
Jack. He loves that. So you guys are deciding to fly around Catalina. You just decided to open this front hatch of this plane while it's in flight and hang off the front of it.
Well, that's the fun part.
But how did you know that you weren't going to fall off? Like, were you belted in at all?
No.
It's like a hatch,
How do
right?
you know you're not going to? I mean, you just take your time. And
The second you open the front, though, the air is coming in at you. You're going over 100 miles an hour, right?
going
150?
147.
147, right.
But, you're actually okay. It's not that bad.
And you're TJ Hooker having his kicks.
Okay, all right, I'm sending you a picture of the plane
Please
right
send
now.
me
I
that.
think the craziest
That's
part, though, is they're
hilarious.
about 8 feet off the ocean. I mean, it's like if you're higher up, it would like look less.
It's
like,
just not.
It's crazy.
What I expected to look at
You
this
do
morning.
it, and then you send your wife out there. Now your turn, honey.
That really entertained me. But
Yeah.
Zuckerman, when you said it was fake, I thought for sure it was definitely fake. Why would Jay Leno?
Right. Nothing to gain, everything to lose.
Why
Not
would he
getting
be
paid.
on the front of an airplane? I mean,
what is there left to do? So,
all right, Johnny.
yes, sir.
The whole reason we're here was to talk about the driving impressions of the Pagani.
Yes.
Why don't we do that?
All right.
And then we'll close it out.
Okay,
Tell
so-
us what you think.
The Huarya's been around for a while. There was a Huarya Roadster, then there was the Huarya BC. The BC might have come first. This is the Huarya BC Roadster. So what's significant about this car, besides all the carbon fiber and the jewelry and all that, is this engine is going to be the AMG V12 that's in the next replacement of the Huarya. So it's more powerful and it's much torquier. So the horsepower, 789 horsepower, but 811 pound-feet of torque.
Wow.
My friend weighed it and told me it's actually legitimately under 3,000 pounds. So, like, that kind of power to weight is, or torque to weight is incredible. And it's way too much for the street. I drove it up Angeles Crest on Friday. I went into race mode for a second where in this car, when you go into race mode, you completely lose traction control. In a production version, this one's slight pre-production, you still have a little bit left. But when you floor it, even though they're 21-inch 355 tires in the back, like, forget about it. The tires are completely torqued out. The thing's squirming everywhere. It's a blast, but it should be on a track. I will say, too, this particular example, set the production car lap record at Spa, which is a hell of a track over in Belgium, Spa-Francorchamps. So yeah, it's rad. I mean, look at the crowds that it's collecting here. Actually, it might be the only car here, so that's.
Is it? And you're saying on the street? Is it impractical on the street?
No.
Would you use this car at all?
You totally could. You totally could. It has two little side trunks that are, you can see they're carbon fiber things with a leather belt. Yeah, it's got a front end lift. It's just as practical as any other supercar.
Have you driven a McLaren Senna?
Yes. It's so much better than a McLaren Senna.
It is. It's easier.
Oh, the ride quality is incredible. Hey, we're podcasting. Yeah. No, we're
1 second.
the ride quality is actually pretty incredible, especially in comfort mode. It's just as usable as a Senna. It's more usable than a Senna, actually. Doesn't make you sick. It's not as noisy. But like 765 is actually a good comparison because it's probably the same horsepower or thereabouts. And this just has way more torque. Like a 765 is 590 pound-feet of torque. This again is 811. V12. It's awesome. It's
how you
very
justify it? It's a Patek Philippe. Is that how you say that watch?
Patek, yeah.
Patek Philippe.
Yeah,
Patek Philippe. I mean,
Patek.
it's a beautifully You can get a watch that tells time,
Right.
or you can have a beautiful watch that tells time that's fun to look at and is an heirloom, and that's really what it is. Because can you get cars that are faster? Maybe you could.
Yeah.
build-
Sure.
But the idea of having something that's such a complete, beautiful pack. I mean, it's as much fun to look at as it is to drive. I mean, when you park it on the street, I mean, look at the crowd. People come around and they look at
nuts.
it, and it's amazing. It's the exact opposite of a sleeper. It's an awaker.
Yeah.
You know?
How many cars do they crank out a year, these guys?
Oh, maybe 40. Maybe
40.
40, if that. But, back to Jay's original point, like, the Plaid is quicker in a straight line. It is. It does it. This is, I think, 0-60 2.9.
Yeah, but that's not the point.
It's not the point, yeah.
it doesn't look like
the fun
that.
part about cars, it's like when I bought my McLaren, I could call up Gordon Murray and ask him a question.
Right.
Which is like, that was pretty cool. And Horatio knows every customer. You have, what is the problem? And you speak to the guy who actually built the car. I mean, if that means anything to you, to have a handmade thing built by an artist.
Does that guy live here when something goes wrong?
Huh?
Does that guy live here? Does he come to your house and fix
No,
things?
but when you ship your car back to Italy, he will look at the bill and smile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, where do you get the car worked
Robertson
on?
Boulevard.
All of these brands have these ambassadors. Even Ford. I've got a Ford GT, the new one. And there's a guy named Tony. And his job, he flies all around the United States. You have a problem, he'll be there September 8th. And he'll come to your garage, and or maybe meet you at a dealer if they have the tools. And the same thing with Pagani. I mean, they have, with the F1, there's a guy named, it just went out of my mind, a Greek guy. And he comes to my garage every 2 or 3 years to service it. And we have dinner, and it's actually nice. I mean, I feel like I have a connection with the company, and that's what they do. They don't...
Yeah.
These guys fly with their tools. Carrera GT, same thing. There's only about a dozen people know how to work on a Carrera GT, and they just circle the country.
918 the same.
Huh?
918 the same.
Yeah, okay,
But then with this one, the engine, at least, a Mercedes dealer would get the parts. It's an AMG motor built in Alphalterbach, Germany. It's got special Pagani top to it, but if you pull it apart, it's an AMG motor.
Right.
Wow.
And
And
I don't know if you want a Mercedes dealer to work on your Pagani, but they could order the parts. So
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
That seems convenient.
Yeah, so, I mean, to me, you just have to look at it as an expensive watch is the best analogy you could make. You need to know the time, but you also like to have that, like I use this
The Apple Watch.
iWatch, and it's perfect. I get emails, everything else, Then I take my expensive watch, got to find a light to get under. I can't read the thing. But that's not the point of it. You look at the back of it and see how it all works, and you go, that's...
Jay Leno has a Tesla.
Cool.
He has an Apple Watch, and he hangs off the front of airplanes. It's a new Jay Leno. He also has 2 shows, one premiering and one returning in the fall. That's our show for today, gentlemen. Zuckerman? No, wait, what just dripped all over the Pagani over there? Is that something dripping off the side of it? Right on the rear quarter there. Is that just
Bird shit.
I assume that's an air conditioner.
Bird
That's
shit.
Tyler from Pagani, so I'll let him worry about
I
it.
assume that's an air conditioner bleed off.
I don't, or that
I see.
dog.
Yeah, no, that looks like
there's
a bird.
two dogs right there.
That's our show, gentlemen. Anybody else have anything to add? Anything to promote? Other than what we've done? You can talk to the three of us on Instagram. You can see Jay's show's premiere. Where does anybody have access to you anywhere?
What do you mean?
On social media, will you respond to anything, or you're not? You don't bother with that stuff.
Well, I mean, I read everything. I don't know.
You read it,
Chance
yeah.
to respond
So
to
someone
everything.
can leave a nice comment to say hi.
Yeah, go to the website on YouTube. Jay Leno's Garage on YouTube.
And if you hear a plane noise, twin prop up in the air, look up. It could be Jay. Flying
Maybe I should put that on TikTok or something.
Barnstorming for kicks.
Yeah.
That's our show, gentlemen. We'll see you next week on Spike's Car Radio.
Thanks for listening to Spike's Car Radio, brought to you by Hangar 56. Listen to new episodes every Wednesday, and be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.